Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coffee Shop Thursday. Wow, we had quite the little storm pass through last evening, and look at that, made everything white again. When's it going to stop snowing, huh? But hey, it's the way it is. It's a beautiful morning right now, blue sky, but we got more rain and more storms headed this way for tomorrow and Saturday, and well, it's that time of year. Yep, it's that time of year in which we're getting ready to throw our palms around in church. Yeah, not our palms on our hands, but palm leaves. Palm Sunday, Sunday of the Passion, it's this week. And that is where our lesson from meeting Jesus at the table comes from. It comes from the day before Palm Sunday, according to the Gospel of John, the 12th chapter. And there, Jesus finds himself at table with Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Yeah, and it's a really intimate setting. It's a very cool setting. There they are, best of friends. And Jesus has just brought Lazarus back to life. So that's the context of this meal. But really what you see happening in this meal is Mary giving us all a lesson on discipleship. Yep, the name of the chapter that I read for today was Meeting Jesus at the Table, of course, but hospitality and discipleship. So what do you mean by hospitality and discipleship? Hospitality because Mary wipes Jesus' feet clean. Yes, she gets down on her hands and knees, takes a flask of oil, anoints his feet, and wipes them clean with her hair. Yeah, now that's another story a similar story to that is talked about in the Synoptic Gospels. But hey, it's a little bit different because in those, Mary anoints his head. And Jesus says, hey, this is her doing this for my, as a foretaste of my burial. And it's a little bit later. It's not the week before. And this is Palm Sunday, just before Palm Sunday that this is happening in John. So what's going to happen just a little bit later in the Gospel of John? Jesus himself is going to get on his hands and knees. He's going to take a basin of water and wash his disciples' feet at that Last Supper table. Isn't that interesting? Mary shows what it means to be a disciple. And it's Jesus himself who imitates Mary later on. That's rather fascinating in itself. Some other things that are interesting about this is that it says the whole house just smelled of this wondrous smell that came from this oil. And it's been suggested that, just think about it, the stink of death had just filled that house for several days. Not the actual smell, but the whole atmosphere of death. And now it's this wondrous smell, this smell of love that Mary outpoured literally and figuratively on Jesus. So you have that going on. And we've seen in the Gospels, other than John, already when Jesus is asked what's the greatest commandment, love the Lord your God, all your heart, soul, strength, and mind, all that stuff, right? And love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the greatest commandments, he said. Well, you think about it. He adds something to that now when we get a little bit further into the Gospel of John in that big teaching segment. It's called the Great Discourse, and it has a couple other names that are attached to it, but it's chapter after chapter of Jesus teaching his disciples, the longest teaching episode that we have in the Gospel of John. And amongst those things, he says, love one another, but he adds something very important to it. As I have loved you. All right? Maybe we should say, as Mary has loved me. Yeah. Mary, Mary pouring that ointment on Jesus' feet. Jesus later getting down on his knees and washing the disciples' feet. I mean, come on. Can you make the connection? It's there. Discipleship, hospitality, all come together in those wondrous moments. Mary, Martha, Lazarus, having Jesus for a meal. Apparently they did that quite often. And now Jesus hosting this meal, this Last Supper meal with his disciples. Oh, really, really neat chapter, and opens your eyes to the whole idea of what it means to be a disciple of Jesus. We grow in our faith. We grow in our discipleship, our learning with Jesus as we share in his most sacred meal that he gives to us, his body and his blood at that communion table. Well, God's blessings be with you. Get out and enjoy this nice, beautiful morning. It is cold. It's about 21 degrees out here right now. So it's chilly, but there's no wind, and the sunshine feels absolutely incredible. God's blessings be with you this day.